Thanks for watching live or listening back to this show from Teachers Talk Radio. You can catch up with all our shows by visiting our YouTube channel or by listening back at ttradio.org. Don't forget to like and subscribe to enjoy more live education conversation from TTR. We hope you enjoy this show.
Outstanding and world-class vision and world-class this.
I'm a real leadership geek, honestly. I've spent my whole career reading books and chatting to people.
I just find the whole thing and the announcement, the way it's been announced, bizarre.
If you could move away from a model where teachers are so intensely focused.
Morning.
Morning.
You are listening to Teachers Talk Radio. It's Wednesday, the 14th of January, and it's the morning break with Liz and Rachel. Rachel is back.
I know, it's been an age.
Oh, we've missed you so much.
I'm really pleased to be back. I have had an operation. I've been in hospital. I've been out of hospital. I've been back in hospital. It's been like the hokey cokey of hospital stays round here.
Like on a bungee rope, back and forth.
But definitely out now. So much better, and really pleased to be back with you this morning.
Oh, we're so happy to see you. It's so good to have you back. So even though it's the 14th of January, and we're halfway through January, thank goodness already, it is our first show of the year. So we'll wish everyone a happy new year. And as is customary in New Year, people tend to make resolutions. Have you made any resolutions?
Me, no. Last year I decided not to make any, but my only resolution last year was to be better at keeping in touch with friends, because I'd had a quite a difficult year stress-wise, and I'd kind of shut myself off a little bit, and I decided that the people who had been really supportive of me from afar needed a bit of nurturing. So my resolution last year was to try and be better at keeping in touch with people, which I think I generally did all right on. But I worry a lot about setting myself up to fail. And I think that's the thing that stops me nowadays making grand resolutions to revolutionize my entire diet and way of life. Because I think by this point, you're kind of beating yourself up because, oh dear, you were still eating the Christmas chocolate come January the 1st.
I bought a packet of Heroes in the supermarket this morning because they were £3.
Well done.
And I was like, okay, it's £3.
And why not?
It'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Indeed. You've got to wean yourself off a diet of predominantly chocolate and cheese. I think at one point over the festive period, I was probably about 97% cheese. As David, my partner, doesn't eat cheese, and I'm the only other person in the house. If I buy cheese, it's all for me. So a cheese board every night was kind of the way I went for dinner.
I love that. Absolutely love
cheese
that.
board for one.
You did Christmas right.
Yes. I don't like sharing food anyway, so it's fine.
So good. I used to do New Year's resolutions, and for exactly the same reason as you, I've stopped it. I haven't done it for years now because I never stick to them. I don't think there's been a single year ever where I've seen through my resolutions. And like you say, you kind of feel a bit of a failure because you haven't seen something through. And the thing is, I always have the best of intentions, and that's the same with everything in my life, at work, at home, everything. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, isn't it?
Indeed.
But inevitably I get distracted on a million side quests with anything, so I start determined to do something, and I'm like, ooh, look at that.
Look at that shiny thing over there.
I'll go over there and I'll pursue that route.
Yeah.
As is my way. So yeah, and I'm the same with New Year's resolutions. So yeah, I don't really make them. And I think as teachers, I think we almost get two New Years, don't we?
Yes.
Because you always get a September start with the start of the academic year, and I think always with the start of an academic year, I'm like, right,
this year I'm going to mark everything within 2 weeks, and I'm going to be so organised and go to bed early. And yes.
I'm going to make sure all emails are answered before I leave at the end of the day. I'm going to all paperwork's going to be filed well ahead of the deadline. I'm going to be on top of everything, and by the end of the first week, I've not done
Chaos.
any of those things inevitably, because I think the summer holiday you forget about the intensity of it. And I think at Christmas as well, I think that happens because Christmas of all the holidays, not to be a massive cliche, but of all the holidays, it is the most manic because everyone's completely out of routine.
It's completely bizarre, isn't it? We kind of step into this twilight zone at Christmas break where it's all fairy lights and you're kind of like walking along singing There's Just One More Sleep Till Christmas from the Muppets Christmas Carol 1 minute. It's all prep and all like rushing to Christmas Day. Then you do Christmas Day. Then you have the weird bit in between Christmas and New Year. Someone was calling it the gooch of the Christmas period the other day, which I thought was hilarious. As opposed to this like what's the other word they call it? I can't remember.
Trixmas. They call it Trixmas.
Yes, that's a less grim version. But you have this period where you're in a sort of limbo, but you're kind of like, it's okay, I don't have to face up to reality because New Year is coming. And then suddenly New Year has happened. And normally I am very much New Year's Day, that tree is down. It's going to be chopped into small parts and put in the bin. Because I think my head goes, I'm in school in 3 days and I need to be clear. This year, because I wasn't rushing so much, David and I decided that we were going to stretch Christmas for as long as humanly possible. And therefore we did the whole like 12th night thing, which was like get it down in that time. So we were quite happily sat there with Christmas lights twinkling away until the last possible moment. My partner's also said that this year he was going to have, he kept saying to me over the Christmas period, I'm going to really suffer with the January blues because this year the build up has been immense and I've loved it and it's been brilliant and I'm going to really fall off a cliff. So I've been sort of waiting with this impending depression to sink over the house. We've managed to combat it, but it is a very difficult time of year.
I think the January blues I think it is that massive crash after Christmas, isn't it? Like because you've still got the short days where you're waking up in the dark, you're coming home in the dark, but you don't have that kind of illumination, like quite almost literal and figurative of the Christmas lights. And you know what? I am of the opinion that Christmas lights are only Christmas lights if they're like reindeer or Santas or something like that. Otherwise, they're just fairy lights. Keep them on your house, people. It makes the drive home from work so much more pleasant when I'm driving past colourful houses. And I think everything just feels really bleak. And everything's cold, and we didn't have heating in school over the last couple of days because we had a gas crisis. So it, everyone's sat in coats and gloves and everything, and
it's miserable, isn't it? And I mean, the thing is I think I would draw the line at coloured lights, but I do think that white fairy lights on houses all year round would be fine. I mean, I'm not judging. If you want coloured lights all over your house, go for it. Whatever makes you feel better. I think when we said in September about the back to school blues, we were saying, can we put the fairy lights up in September? Just to carry us through. And I think it's true. Number one, soft lighting is much more flattering. But number two, it cheers you up. And I think that's the thing. I mean, we at the moment are very much, when it's been cold, having the fire on in the living room, which is making us feel super cozy. But I think that January, particularly for teachers, is a bit challenging, especially as well because for a long time over the school year, especially with your exam groups, you're kind of saying to them, we'll deal with this after Christmas. You hit Christmas and there's this oil slick and you're just sliding full pelt at exams. There's no more buffer zone.
Totally. And this, I think, like you say, for the year 11s particularly, when you've got 2 school holidays in between you starting your exams, that does make it feel distant. But then once you get to the spring term, which is such a short term, it's, and I said to my year 11s, because I was talking about practical revision strategies this week, and talking about, because I think as teachers we bang on about revision all the time, but we're not always particularly good at talking about what that looks like. So I've been really tackling that with them, and
especially in English, because it's not a subject where you can sit down and learn by rote, facts and figures. So I agree.
It's a little and often is my philosophy, and I'm like, it is January. We're now on kind of the 4-month countdown.
Yeah.
And, 3 or 4 weeks of that is holiday. So our actual contact time is limited now. Now for you guys, you're probably like having a little party in your heads because you're like, oh, it's nearly over, I'm nearly free. But also that means that the next 4 months are quite intense, and so we need to make the most of this time. And revision, if you haven't already started, which you probably should have done, but if you haven't already started, now's a good time to start little and often, bite-sized chunks, making it manageable, because if you're starting in March or you're starting in April, that is going to overload your brain and it's going to be way too late and you're going to feel super stressed. So
that ship has already sailed.
Absolutely. Particularly for subjects like English Lit, where it's so knowledge heavy. They've got to retain so much information, and it is and in amongst all their other subjects as well. It's not the only one that they're doing, so it is really, really difficult. But the thing is, I'm so careful with conversations like that as well, because I'm aware that there are some students in the class who are stressed already and have been stressed for months, and then
they've
you've
been
got
stressed since year 7.
So far the opposite direction, like, nah, whatever. I'll deal with it when the time comes.
There's also that kind of thing with year 11 where that at some point they're going to go off the boil. I think there's there is this momentum in January, but sometime around March or April, you're really ready for them to go, and they're kind of ready to do what they need to do. Because they've kind of got to that point where everyone is setting revision, the pressure is on, and some of them just check out. They're like, I can't deal anymore. So they go horizontal. And I think that is a problem. I've seen it a lot with people who are year 11 tutors, for example, who'll just be like, they are ready, they're done, they need to go. And they start sometimes creating a bit of mischief because they can't deal anymore with the thing that's supposed to be the focus.
They become Chandler Bing from Friends, and they use humour. Humour as a coping mechanism. I think we all do that, though. I'm a bit like that.
Laugh at the insanity of it all.
Absolutely. Just like laugh through it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Indeed.
If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Precisely.
So I find this term really interesting, because I always think people perceive the spring term to be an easy term because it's short, but I always feel by the time we get to the Easter holidays, I'm like, okay, no, I've done 15 weeks worth of work in 11 weeks. I'm tired, because it's the intensity really shifts, I think, because you are trying to achieve so much in so little time.
Do you remember that year? I think it was when there was like the royal wedding and all the rest of it, where we were off for most of April. There was like 2 weeks. We had the 2-week Easter holidays in April, and then we had 2 major bank holidays in April as well. So we were in school for about 8 days in April several years ago. Yeah, it was a weird one, but it was because there was like the royal wedding and various bank. There was a bank holiday, and I can't remember what it was. Probably 2010 or something like that. But yeah, we were off for most of April. That was a frightening year.
See, look at me. I'm like, great, that's brilliant. We were off for
it was brilliant, but when you looked at like how many Mondays you lost with, say, if you had a year 11 on a Monday, it was one of those things where you're like, I'm losing actually 4 hours of teaching time in April
during that time. And I find that when insets are always on the same day of the week as well,
Fridays and Mondays.
Oh my gosh, I've got a double lesson on that.
Speaking of insets.
Oh
obviously we've had a little chat about this previously, but I'm in absolute agreement with you that there should be at least one inset day at the beginning of every I'd like it every half term, but every term, because you need that readjustment, reacclimatizing period to being in school.
I think coming straight back in to the intensity of teaching on that first day back, again, particularly after Christmas, everybody's out of routine over Christmas, everybody, because everything's changed, everything's shifted, the dynamic is very, very different in everybody's home lives. Just having that buffer day effectively and I think treating it as well, because so often on inset it's crammed full of, you're going to go to this seminar and this seminar and this seminar, and we're going to try and achieve this, but just sort of going, do you know what, everybody needs a day to start on a level playing field, and clear.
I think we all agree that the dream inset day is come in, little briefing in the morning, welcome back, blah de blah, now go off and do your own stuff. That's the
Yeah.
dream inset, isn't it?
Of
Go and
course it
organize
is.
yourself.
Because I think the vast majority of teachers, when given that time, will not waste it.
No.
Like, it's just like, okay, I've got 6 hours. What can I achieve with 6 hours? Because I find that if I've got a clear run at something, my gosh, what I can get done.
Yeah.
The problem is, and I don't know if our primary colleagues find this a little bit better because of the way that their PPA is done, but they get kind of an afternoon or a morning, don't they, for their PPA?
Yeah.
So you can get a run at something. But for us as secondary teachers, our PPA is across the timetable, so you've often only got it in 45-minute chunks,
and it gets eroded by various bits and bobs.
Because by the time for most of my PPAs, I'm not in my classroom, so the first thing I've got to do is uproot myself from my classroom and find myself somewhere to work.
Yeah.
So I've already lost time doing that, and then I find the second I leave my classroom, I don't know if anybody else finds this, but the second I leave my classroom and people see me, it's like, oh, can I just ask you this? Or, oh, can we talk about that student? Or can we do, and it's obviously you say yes because you wouldn't do anything else, but obviously that's, even if it's just 5 minutes, that's eroding here, there and everywhere. And then by the time you sit down, by the time I've opened my inbox and dealt with the 5 or 6 emails that are there that need immediate stuff doing, or I print something off that I need to go, and the photocopy is broken, so I've got to go and find another one, or unjam it, or whatever it is that I've got to do, track someone down about toner or whatever it is. All of a sudden you don't have much time. So if you've got an inset day, if you've got 6 hours where I'm going to be in my classroom, and it's like, gosh, I mean, the resources that I could create, the administrative tasks I could get done, the kind of differentiation elements to do, like for my OAPs and things like that, readjusting my PowerPoints for like my year 9 nurture class, for example, like the time to run at that when I'm not doing it at the end of the day, when I'm emotionally, physically exhausted and my brain power's declined, to actually do it while I'm fresh. Oh my gosh, it would be so good.
I think as well, it takes the pressure off that idea that over the holidays you have to mark, which is really difficult because the time is often taken up by hosting or being a parent or generally looking after other people, and it just seems to go very fast, the Christmas holidays.
It's a very social time, isn't it? Your time is kind of pulled in every direction.
And I think rightfully so, because it's the one holiday where it's obviously whether you're of faith or not, it's a holiday where family and seeing people and being sociable is what it's about. And unlike Easter and the summer, where your time is much more your own to decide how you use it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a big believer in trying to do all your marking in the holidays or all your planning and preparation in the holidays, because you need that time really to recharge and do your personal admin as much as anything else.
Life admin,
life admin. But I think that at Christmas, particularly, if you've got a huge pile of marking that you're meant to have done, then having a day when you come back where you can literally do that is really beneficial. And I think the thing is with inset as well, is it's all very well if it's something that's super, super useful. But I think a lot of people get inset fatigue where they're not quite sure why that inset has been planned. Is it just because someone's decided that they have to fill the day with certain talks or certain focuses and things like that? So it just depends on what the inset is and why it's there.
We're awful in inset as well as teachers, I often think.
I'm the worst audience member ever. I find it really frustrating.
And it's really bad because we're terribly hypocritical, because we should behave like we want the students to in lessons, but you so often we become the students, and it's really awful.
I'm the student that can't leave people next to me alone, so I'll be like whispering to them, poking them, prodding, laughing, occasionally checking my phone. I am self-confessed awful. And yes, my knowledge of social niceties means I don't get up and do a dance and run around the room. But I find, unless it's something very, very intriguing and engaging, I get very distracted very easily. But that's my bad. That's not necessarily the inset.
I'm a frantic note taker and doodler, because my brain is always whirring at a million miles an hour, and I've got, while I'm listening and absorbing, and I'm slightly distracted by a conversation that's taking place behind me or along from me, so I'm kind of hearing that, and then my brain's thinking about something else, and so then I'm worried that I'm going to miss something important from the meeting. So that's why I'm note taking, to try and do that. And if there's nothing to take notes on, I'm doodling to try and keep my brain focused.
I make a lot of lists, and I do a lot of, like, I'm going to write things in my diary. Yes. I also kind of have a tendency to check out and then suddenly stick my hand up and ask a question. It's like I've not been listening, but I have got one ear on it. But like you, I have a busy brain, and
it's loud, I find isn't
it? And I used to be a frantic note taker, but often I never look at the notes again. So it just depends on what's being done as to whether I make notes or do lists of jobs I need to do, that kind of thing.
Did you know what I've learned? That some people don't have an inner monologue. Like, some people have nothing like happening in their head. It
must be so lonely and quiet.
I find that staggering. Like, what is in your brain if you haven't got a constant?
I have an inner monologue that often comes out as an outer monologue. I will often tell people exactly what I'm going to do, even if I'm just about to go to the toilet. And they're kind of like, okay, I didn't need to know that.
Thanks,
you're like, all right, sharing. Sorry. Yeah.
But is that symptomatic of being a teacher, though? Because I think sometimes you feel like you have to justify where you are at any given time, just in case anyone's going to ask any questions as to why you're not
maybe.
It's just like, I'm just going to the toilet. Like, I'll be back at my desk in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Big brother is watching. Oh
It's like, yes. I know I shouldn't be doing it. I know, sorry, I'll get back to work as soon as I can, because you feel like you have to justify where you are all the time. I don't know if other jobs must have that, surely. I don't know. It's really difficult to tell, isn't it, when you've been I'm institutionalized because I've been
I became aware a couple of years ago that people didn't like marking with me in a room, because I tend to like talk to myself as I'm marking, or laugh, or want to read out hilarious comments to other people.
Oh, I do that all the time.
So I think people are like, if we want to get any work done, let's not sit with Rachel when she's marking. Oh dear.
It's better if it's a more social thing, though, I think.
Oh, I totally agree. I like to do work with other people. I like having other people around. I find I don't work in silence unless I'm really concentrating on something. I will have an audiobook going, a TV program going, something going that is extra noise. I find the silence quite oppressive. The only time I have total silence is when I really have to concentrate on what I'm reading. So marking a really, an exam paper for someone and especially when they're incredibly bright and you have to be really detailed in your feedback, that's when I need to really concentrate. But I do find getting to the point of doing that, I can procrastinate for a long time before I start, because I'm like, absolutely. I feel oppressed by the fact the task is going to take total focus.
The more you have to do, the harder it is to get started. I always find that, and that's always one of my resolutions. I'm going to procrastinate less. I'm just going to get done what I need to get done, because I always make a time plan for things. I'm always like, right, I'm going to do this on these days. And then I fail on the first day, and then that's it. The whole plan is out the window at that point, and I need to stick to those things, I think.
I know what you mean. It's the same as that when you start a diet, for example, isn't it? The minute you err off of this strict plan, you're like, damn it, I've blown it. Right, to heck with it, pass the cheese board again.
The minute you buy the packet of Heroes for £3,
indeed,
like you're done.
But it's the same with these lists and resolutions, isn't it? The minute you blow it, you think, well, that's it. We need to get to this point, don't we, Liz, where we're like, yes, we blew it, but that was then. Now move on and try and be more organised again. But no, it's kind of like, damn, that's it. It's all rubbish. Heck with it.
Give up really, really easily.
Yeah, I'm all at sea now. Back
Almost
to
like
the normal
that rejection
situation.
sensitivity. Like,
Yeah.
I can't pull it back, when you actually could pull it back, but you're
Yeah.
just so down on yourself about it.
It's probably part and parcel of us being a bit drama queeny as well.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Should we pause for some ads and some words from our sponsors?
Yes. So, let me go through our sponsors today. So, Hachette Learning. This show is brought to you in partnership with Hachette Learning, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Level up your professional development today and visit www.hachetlearning.com to explore the full range of titles. And from the 21st to the 23rd of January 2026, join BET for the biggest week in education in the Excel in London with beg your pardon, with immersive workshops, thought-provoking speakers, hundreds of hours of CPD accredited content, cutting-edge technology, and unrivaled networking. There's no opportunity quite like it for educators. Get your free ticket today by visiting betshow.com. And finally, let me just find the right thing. Teachers Talk Connect is back, our annual CPD and networking extravaganza. Join the TTR team, Teachers Talk Radio, on Saturday, the 14th of March in Manchester. Tickets are free. What are you waiting for? That is a question. Head over to teachertalkradio.org/connect 2026. Exciting things ahead.
Exciting things ahead. Time to meet some of the members of the team. Be fun.
Indeed.
Right. So one of the things that I find really, really funny about coming back, and actually there's a lot of talk about it online. So for teachers, we don't have water coolers that we gather by. Our normal place of meeting is the photocopier, isn't it? Like if I'm going to see any of my colleagues at any point during the day, it is at the photocopier, because we don't have time to drink.
We're massively dehydrated, but we have a lot of paper.
As a profession, unless you bring a massive bottle in with you in the morning,
which you carry around all day and forget to drink from.
Yeah, actually, the invention of the Stanley Cup is very, very helpful for teachers, because they're absolutely enormous, aren't they? So
also, you can put whatever you like in it, so you don't have to be the virtuous water drinker. I'm terrible. I hate water. I don't like drinking water because I've spent a lot of time in hospital where they're kind of like, you must drink this amount of water, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I have Vimto in my Stanley Cup, and I don't look like a bad person for not drinking water.
That would be obvious in a water bottle.
Indeed, it looks like I'm drinking wine if it's in a clear water bottle. No, actually, I have my non-Stanley Cup Vimto to hand, you see, because yes, I will agree to drink fluids, but I cannot drink bare naked water without feeling like I'm ill.
Fair enough. That's an association thing as well, probably.
Yeah,
not fun.
No. But yeah, so photocopier, you're saying?
Photocopier, yeah, and that's where you meet everyone, and you have the standard conversations at the beginning of every term. I always feel like January is the best type of kind of small talk conversations that you have, because everybody rolls out the same things. I do it every single time, and it's almost like a reflex. I don't really understand what happens. It's like your brain takes over and you just say, oh, I just had a quiet one actually, or
actually it was just... when it was actually mega frantic and you were running around like someone has set fire to your ass.
It's like we've never been away.
Yeah.
Or like, and I'm just like, they come out of my mouth and I'm like, why? It's a cliche. Say something else.
It's because the sheer exhaustion of the holiday period, followed by the shock at suddenly being back in school, means that you resort to the quickest, easiest response.
Oh gosh, but I wonder. Like, it makes me think about, is it a British thing? Like, I just feel, because obviously there's loads of sites that talk about how crazy we are as British people in the way that we have small talk and the conversations that we have that just doesn't happen elsewhere. But I'd be really interested to know in other countries if teachers have similar conversations.
When I had to travel to work in a taxi because I broke my leg, I had a really nice taxi man who I think was from Poland, but I can't remember exactly. But he always used to laugh because the British thing of going, "How are you? Not bad." I mean, what kind of a response is that? Not bad. Well, I'm not dead. My leg hasn't fallen off.
Celia.
It's a stupid response, and it also, why would you leap to the "I'm not bad"? It's a really weird thing to say in response, but we all do it. Or we all start things with "I'm terribly sorry, but," which is a really British thing to do. I went to McDonald's in New York and she said, "Oh, can I help you?" And I was like, "Yes, sorry. Would you mind if I ordered a Big Mac?" She went, "Would I mind? Of course you can order a Big Mac." And I'm like, okay, yes, I've now recognised that all this sort of like phatic nonsense that I'm spouting, this sort of weird and you also, when you go abroad, especially to America, you go extra British. You can't help it. It seems that
you
you get
become Mary
more,
Poppins.
you become more Hugh Grant than Hugh Grant. So yes, I do think our British sensibilities and the way that we answer those kind of small talk questions is quite absurd.
I don't know what, and the thing is, the second it's out of my mouth, I'm like, get back in, just say something else, anything else at all, apart from rolling out the old cliches. I even, oh my gosh, can you believe it's 2026? I'll still think it's 2025 until at least March.
Yes.
I'm cringing internally thinking about it, but I can't stop myself.
So next year, Liz, next year we're going to set ourselves some new statements to say at the photocopier.
What could we say?
I don't know. Maybe we should make up some exciting stories to tell about rogue Brussels sprouts or something. It's just slightly more interesting. Like I said, you could retort with, "Well, I'm actually 95% cheese at the moment, so I'm not quite ready to be back in school." I just think we could do like a bingo card of statements that we should say instead of. Oh, it's just a quiet one.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh, it was so noisy, actually. So noisy. I'm glad to be back.
Raucous, drink fueled. It's a wonder I can still stand. About the amount of champagne I've drank over the last 3 days, or whatever.
Yeah, my blood is currently champagne.
Yeah,
I had that good a time over.
Do you think that part of the depression of January? I don't drink, so doing dry January is not a thing for me. But I think that a lot of people get depressed because of the sudden onset of dry January
and veganuary as well.
Yeah, that's a killer.
I think
couldn't do it.
Get grumpy because they're not eating what they normally would do or drinking what they normally would do. I'm the same as you. So like dry January for me, like every month is dry January, dry February, dry March, whatever.
Generally dry.
Yeah, just generally dry. So that doesn't bother me, and it's like there would be no shift for me.
No.
But I know, like, obviously for a lot of people, like, this is a really enjoyable thing, and it's a part, and I think in the teaching profession as well, like having a glass of wine at the end of the week or whatever is actually sometimes it's something that you look forward to, and it's your saving grace or whatever. For me, it's the traitors. That's like my saving grace, is like getting to the traitors. But yeah, I can understand why that would make people a bit grumpy, but again, it makes January a little bit bleak, doesn't it? Save it till February, get kind of the bleakness of January out of the way, and then do it in February instead.
I was speaking to my friend the other day. We went for a meal for a friend's, she's due to have a baby very soon, so we went for a meal last week, and his wife is a teacher, and he said that she's trying to do dry January because she was starting to stress drink every night. So she'd come home from work and want a couple of glasses of wine, and it of course was making getting up the next day a bit more difficult. And she's starting to realise that the teaching profession was pushing her towards unhealthy habits, which I think is also a problem. But we all have our things that we do. I mean, I'm quite capable of not going to bed on time because I want to claw back the time before I have to get up and start again.
Revenge,
which is awful.
Procrastination.
And I know that is just as bad for me as drinking every night. But you're saying about the traitors. My whole thing this year was that I watched Strictly for the first time ever from beginning to end. You know what? I actually did, and I think the reason for it is it's so good natured. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked the Celebrity Traitors, but I get very anxious in competitive situations because I root for people, and then if they lose, I find it quite emotionally destroying. Um, so I'm a very sensitive person. I can't watch sporting events for the same reason. But this
I
year,
can't watch sporting
after
events because they're boring.
well, there's that too. Although the Olympics, I did enjoy watching a lot of the Olympics last year while I had my leg in the air because I'd broken my leg. So I watched a lot of that. But this year, I obviously strictly finished before Christmas. And then I decided to watch Amanda Holden and Alan Carr in their Greek renovation project, which was lovely because it made me feel optimistic for the sun. I wanted to go on holiday. They're quite hilarious together. But it's these things like normally my viewing is death, doom, and destruction, murder and mayhem, in graphic detail with upsetting scenes. But this year I decided to go to somewhere a bit more positive and watching Strictly, which I find quite cheesy and trite a lot of the time, but actually was quite uplifting. And my main reason for doing it is Alex Kingston, because I absolutely love Alex Kingston, and I'm a Doctor Who fan, and she's River Song, so can't avoid it.
And
But
she was Dr. Corday back in the day.
exactly, huge
Yeah.
ER fan. But yes, these TV shows that we watch for unwinding and downtime, very important. So, I think, like you say, you've got to find things that kind of drive you forward and motivate you. And I think for me as well, it's about looking forward to the summer again.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, obviously, the massively long holiday, but just the sun coming out. I'm kind of, once Christmas is done, I'm done with the weather being rubbish as well.
Yeah,
Get on with snowing or not at all. That's it.
Yeah, it's like snow. Give me snow, so we can play in the snow and everything looks beautiful and everything's like that beautiful silence. That's fine. If you're going to do that in January. Good, I'm good with that. But otherwise, I want spring, please. I want to have my flip-flops back out. I want the days to be a little bit longer. I want it to just, I want to come home in the light. I want to feel like there's some life outside of work.
Yeah.
The irony as a teacher. But I feel like, it's that sad thing, isn't it? That seasonal affective disorder. I think that really does kick in January. Something that you said just then, I think that is something that we should all have resolutions for, is having something that drives us. I think having there's a lot to be said for having a motivating force. And I feel that I'm very, very blessed and lucky that my son is my motivating force. Like, I've said that to a lot of people. Like, he gets me out of bed in the morning. Like, he's the reason that I go to work and I get up, and I, when I come home, I look forward to picking him up from school. I look forward to taking him to do things. Like, I love that. Like, that is my drive. He is my motivation.
Yeah.
But whatever form that takes, whether that's watching a television program, whether it's a hobby that you have, whether it's whatever it is that gives you that motivating for, or something that you're working towards. Like, I'm gonna become an auntie soon, so I've got that, like, that's coming up, and I'm so looking forward to that. For the first time, I'm so excited. So that's coming along as well. So, but whatever drives you, I think that really can help push you through.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm January.
I find Kate's not here today, but the fact that she's writing a book is really inspirational. And I've sort of thought about doing something similar. Well, where am I from all of a sudden? I've considered doing something similar about my teaching experiences. I mean, goodness knows if it'll amount to anything, but having something that you think is exciting and having projects that diversify what you're doing, I think really helps. This show, for example, is something I'm really motivated to do, because I find both you and Kate really interesting people to talk to. We're very different. We have different life experiences, but there's things that between us we have that are very similar, and our experiences of teaching and education, the things that concern us, are similar, and we're all at a similar age in terms of our life. And I think when you get to where we are, where we've been teaching for a number of years, some people hit a point where they want to change.
Yes.
or they want to do something as well as teaching, and hence they go part-time and do other projects as well.
And
Or
that does happen at this time of year, particularly, doesn't it? You know, I think have you've found some statistics, haven't you, about
I was quite
mid-year leavers?
I was kind of looking at some statistics regarding teachers in general, because there is a retention crisis at the moment, and teachers leaving the profession for various reasons, and it's quite shocking. I mean, this data isn't bang up to date, it's from 2024, but that year, 2024, 41,200 full-time teachers left state-funded education, which is 9.8% of the whole workforce in the UK, which is huge. And some of the other things that I looked at were 91% leave before retirement age as teachers. And whether that's because it's too difficult to do once you get a bit older, maybe it's that it's a young person's game. There's something there to be said about energy levels and about health, but also the fact that people do tend to, well, when you come from a background, which most teachers do, of having enjoyed academic rigor, people sometimes want to do something else as well, or they want a different pace to their working life. The other one that is obviously very worrying, that's always been around, I think, is that 33% of new teachers leave within the first 5 years.
That's high. That's
which
really
is high, and it's frightening, and it's
think
a real shame when people invest so much money in training.
I was about to say, like, when we think about what's kind of been thrown at new teachers to try and, because I think so much emphasis has been put on recruitment rather than retention in education, and obviously I get the fact that they have to plug the gaps that have already been created, but stop creating more gaps that need to be filled. So that there have been a lot of like really high training bursaries and things like that for new teachers, but if 1 in 3 of those people are leaving in the first 5 years, that money's been wasted, hasn't it, and could have gone to such better use in the education system. I mean, that is something within education. I think obviously as individuals we set ourselves targets, resolutions, whatever we want to view them as, maybe not officially as New Year's resolutions or goals to work towards in whatever form they take. But I think schools and the education system, I think the government and the DfE do need to be having a little bit of a thing. I mean, God, every year I'm like, this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year that someone's going to wake up and look at the education system and be brave enough to go, is this working the way that it is? Is this a sustainable model to move forward with? Because don't get me wrong, like the curriculum review that came out last year, I think it had a lot of sensible things in it. I felt like there was a move in the right direction, but for me it just doesn't go far enough. I am longing for somebody who's got enough power to just take a really hard look at the education system and go, is this factory line process really what we should be doing? Why are we assuming that all young people are going to fit the same mold? Why are we not considering the possibility that society is made up of lots of different types of people with lots of different types of strengths and skills and values and whatever? Why are schools then so different from that? And I would love for somebody to just go, do you know what, we need to rebuild it. We need to rebuild it from the ground up. We need to look at vocational pathways. We need to look at the value of other things. And I think as well, we had an inset either last year or the year before, where a guy who is, I mean, an expert in AI, I don't know how to refer to him, but someone who goes into schools and talks about the use of AI. And he said something really scary in that meeting and said, you know, I think it was by 2028 or something like that, how much of the workforce will be eradicated by AI, because companies won't need to employ people to do jobs. They'll save themselves money because computers can do it for them. And actually the vocations that people need to be going into and that we need to be talking to our young people about are the ones that where you are always going to need actual humans to go in and do the jobs, you know, electricians, plumbers, you know, these are people that we're like the practical jobs that the AI is never going to be able to do. So they might be able to detect a problem with AI, but they can't fix a problem like that with AI. It's going to have to be human. And we just seem to massively, maybe I'm wrong, maybe people will disagree with me, but I think we really devalue those professions by not encouraging young people to go into them from early. Why do they have to be 16 before they can even start thinking about something like that? Because
it's because we've put
do.
So much emphasis on this idea of GCSEs and that
Academia.
everybody has to be an exam person. When, let's face facts, there are some people who will never be successful in exams but are incredibly practical and talented when it comes to life skills, or it comes to applying knowledge practically to plumbing or whatever it is. And, you know, we've done that for a really long time. It was the same when they decided that everyone had to be in school till 18, you know, and it was like, well, why are you trying to force a round peg into a square hole? There's some people that are not going to benefit from that at all and need to get out and be doing a job or training or something. But the other thing I think as well, I mean, obviously we're heading into a technology revolution, a bit like the Industrial Revolution, where there's going to be Luddites like you and I, Liz, going, we still need teachers who can read a room and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And an AI robot teaching the kids is not the right thing. I have no doubt we're going to be shouting from that hilltop at some point. But the other thing is when we're talking along the lines of like teacher retention, is there, and I've been looking around on various groups that I follow on social media, people, you know, 1/3 of the profession are currently planning to leave if they have an option to do so, which is frightening. And these are experienced teachers. There seems to be this huge focus on new young teachers coming into the profession. It's all bottom loaded, but you've got people with vast amounts of experience and skills that yes are at the top of the pay scale and therefore are expensive, but the jobs out there are not there. The jobs are all for newly qualified teachers, entry level. So what do these teachers do? They are being kind of like phased out. Their skills and experience are not being valued the way they should be, and that's a real shame.
I don't think that's like school's fault though. I think it's because budgets have become so tight that schools are kind of forced into that position. I don't think it's necessarily that they don't value the more experience. It's just that they can't afford more experienced teachers. And I would just like to clarify before this is kind of all taken out of context as well, that doesn't mean that teachers are paid well. It just means in the school's universe they are expensive, but it doesn't mean actually that they're paid as they should be. It's just quite
when you're faced with with someone at the start of their career on 24,000, for example, but you've then got someone who steadily over 20 plus years has climbed the pay scale, and has some TLRs attached, where you know, a bit of responsibility here and there. When you have a choice between that and someone who's entry level, then sometimes the decisions are made on a purely fiscal perspective, because they know what their staff salaries are the biggest part of a school budget.
80% of a school budget.
Yeah, exactly. And schools are under so much pressure to cut costs and make things affordable. And I think as well, sometimes there is a bit of a kind of like, you know, the new up and coming teacher will be easier to mold into a school's ethos or framework than perhaps someone who's chugged away, soldiering on for years and years.
And I think the older that we get and the more established in the profession we get, I think we can become quite set in our ways sometimes as well. I'd like to say I'm quite open-minded about a lot of things in education. I like to learn. I like to do new things. I like to experiment with things. I'm really passionate about teaching and learning and trying things out. But that I still have my moments where I'm like, really? Really? oh, we're talking about this again.
We could. Well, the thing is, once you've been around the block a few times, and the disco ball of new innovative educational tools has been around at least 18 times in the last 20 years, you start to become a little jaded towards new ideas because they're not new; they're just slightly reinvented. Yes. So
Love
I mean, there is obviously the stereotype of the cantankerous old teacher who's like, really. Again,
and I actually, like, it's so funny how it comes full circle, because I remember being a 22-year-old in the classroom 20 years ago and being like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and so enthusiastic and so excited about everything, and being like a little yappy puppy. Like, okay, let's do that. That's really
there's a job to do. Pick me.
Yeah, I'm totally being that person, and to a certain extent, that part of me is still there.
Oh,
still, like, when something really grabs me, I'm like, oh, pick me, I want to do that. I love that idea. Like, I still have that in me, but I can see parts of me that have become that, the teachers that I remember when I first started. A little
cantankerous, like, around the edges.
The eye roller in the corner being
really?
Okay.
Yes. Indeed.
And self-awareness is key, isn't it, in these things? So I am aware of it. But yeah, I still got a little bit of enthusiasm, but I think it is being bashed out of people, that enthusiasm, because people are just so tired. And it just feels like every new day brings something extra and another pressure. And I think that can cause the eye rolling as well. And I think, like, kind of bringing it back to the resolutions thing, we were talking about this before the show.
Yeah.
I think there does need to be a massive push on genuine well-being initiatives in school, like things that are meaningful and are going to make an active difference. I think schools, their resources are limited, and so therefore I get it and I understand, but I just feel like there's so much lip service paid to well-being, you know. Oh, have you tried yoga? Have you tried
staff yoga?
Yeah, kind of the classic things, rather than actually things that would actively make a difference. And where I work, I have seen, again, I was a bit eye rolly at the beginning about it, but they've brought in a new way to limit emails, which initially they stopped everybody being able to send all staff emails, which I think is incredibly wise, because having everybody have access to all staff emails is blooming dangerous, because you just get every, you know, have you seen my mug? Emails clogging up your inbox. Clogging up your inbox. It's just like, oh, for goodness sake. So they stopped that initially, and that wasn't really working. And so now what they've created is this daily bulletin. And at first I was like, oh gosh, I'm going to be emailed twice a day with this bulletin. That's really annoying. Now I blooming love it. It's reduced my email count no end. I read it twice a day, every day. I've got all the information that I need. And but it's at my disposal, so I can have that open as a tab on my lap, and I can go in and it's so good. So I rolled at that at the beginning. I will admit that. I'll hold my hands up. I was like, oh, for goodness sake. Actually, I love it. Love it. I think it's a brilliant idea. Because it's just put everything in one place, and now I mean, don't get me wrong, I still get a very large number of emails, but I've got a lot less than I used to, and I just find it's easier for me to track down the information that I need as well, because I'm like, well, that's where it's going to be. I'm not trying to trawl through emails going, who emailed me that piece of information? Where did that come from? I can't actually remember how I know that. So that's a really, I think that's a really
my
meaningful...
school did something very similar several years ago, and it is much better. I think as well, though, like, if we're going to talk about resolutions, I think one of the resolutions we all need to make is to be a bit kinder to ourselves, and to put up some self-protections, which we've spoken about before, the ideas of having some boundaries. And part of, like, looking forward and not feeling like you're stuck in the depression of January is, you know, giving yourself things that you're going to be doing. You know, I've organised a couple of theatre things that I'm really looking forward to. So, you know, I made some bookings with, I mean, I've got to that point where I book 2 tickets and then just hope someone will jump on board with me, basically. But I'm sort of trying to get some... I'm trying to get some tickets for Cynthia Eva in her one-woman Dracula performance, which just sounds immense. And I've got tickets to see Dangerous Liaisons with Aidan Turner at the National. So I do like putting in little things in place to look forward to. And obviously, a lot of people book holidays in January because they're like, that gives me something to aim for. So I think that's the thing is with resolutions, it just needs, and like you say, schools need to be a bit better at wellbeing and not just signing up for a wellbeing service and going, here is a link, off you pop, go and tell
Here's
them
the
how,
leaflet,
go and
give
tell
them a
them how,
call.
go and tell them how busy and stressed you are. You know, as opposed to the, you know, I was at school once that used to have like wellbeing days where you'd have a day off and you'd be encouraged, or they'd have quiet week. I loved quiet week. Quiet week
Ooh,
was
what's
when
quiet week?
it was when they decided that at 3:30, when school finished, no one could stay. You had to go home.
Wow. Oh,
No
that would stress
meetings
me
that
out,
week.
though.
And there was like what, but then you just had to take work. If you were going to go home and
Take it
work, that
home.
was your business. But it just meant there was no pressure for that week for you to be staying late. And there was no kind of like weird competitiveness that who can stay the latest. I mean, my
Oh,
school
teacher
luckily has never
martyrdom.
had that
Oh,
ethos. It's always
yeah.
been like people can leave when they're finished. But obviously there's work to be done. But quiet weeks, I think were a good thing. Once every term, no meetings for that week. Because sometimes you get weeks where you're supposed to only have one after school, but it doesn't work out like that. And it ends up, I mean, the end of term is always the most hilarious because you end up with prize giving, parents' evening, open evenings for the following year sevens, a trip, and you know, something else all bunged into the last 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
you arrive at the summer holidays with like raging conjunctivitis and a chest infection, as well as being completely exhausted and having advanced acne over most of your face because you're falling to bits. Yeah, so the crawl to the summer holidays is often pretty harsh. The other thing about the Christmas holidays that I also find, and we're talking about this earlier because obviously everything goes around school like wildfire. The number of my colleagues that have been like, I have been so ill for the entirety of Christmas. Yeah, I had norovirus from Christmas Eve until January the 3rd.
But also, I do think that's something about our how much we run on adrenaline. Because I think like I'm someone who, I mean, I do get ill in term time. Although, you know, tinfoil hat on, I have been drinking red bush tea with honey now for over a year.
Nice.
As opposed to anything else. And I have, oh God, watch me get a cold next week now. But I've not had a cold.
You have jinxed yourself. The hubris of the young.
I know. But it had, like, it's worked really, really well. Don't get me wrong, like I get massive migraines and things like that. You know, I get ill in different ways. But like in terms of like viral things, I have managed to like avoid colds and coughs and things like that since I've been having the tea with the honey. Now, it could just be a coincidence, but I feel like there's something in that. So if Red Bush tea sales now go up, I want some commission.
You deserve to be on the advertising committee.
Yeah, I want to advertise. I want to be the face of it.
Shall I just read our ad again?
Yeah.
Because we're quickly
Right at the end.
I know. Who knew that was going to happen? Okay, so this show is brought to you in partnership with Hachette Learning, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Level up your professional development today and visit www.hachetlearning.com to explore the full range of titles. Yes. So
I can't believe we've come to the end already. I think our takeaways are about protecting yourself and protecting your own well-being. That's something to saying no is not a bad thing. Like I think again in teaching, I think there's a lot of, you know, people who say no, they're not a team player, or, you know, they're not part of the cause or whatever. And it's like, do you know what? It is a little bit of self-preservation. Sometimes you have to say no. And I don't think no's should be given unreasonably. I don't think it should be your default, but I also don't think you should be, she says, as a massive people pleaser, hypocrite.
Me too.
But I also don't think
But it's
You should
learning
also
to,
feel compelled to do things when you can't and you haven't got the capacity.
yeah, it's learning to say to people, I'm not going to do a good job if you give me this extra thing to do.
Yeah,
You don't want me. You don't want me on this because I'm stretched
Yeah.
way too thin.
Yeah. So say no. School's meaningful well-being. Like look at your team and think about what would actually be of benefit to your staff. Like, what are they really going to get something out of? Not just paying lip service and saying, oh, don't look at your emails, turn your emails off over the weekend, when you know full well people are going to be looking at them. Again, I've got quite a healthy culture of that. People don't email over the weekend in my school, which I think is amazing. And give yourself things to look forward to.
Definitely. I absolutely agree. And I think that's the thing with New Year's resolutions. Don't make resolutions that are going to depress you if you break them and make you feel like it's all gone wrong right from the beginning. But make your resolutions, you don't need smart targets for resolutions. You need things that are just going to make you realize that you do a difficult job, and that and you just need to be able to protect yourself a little bit, and also find joy in looking forward to things in the future.
The joy in simple things as well. I think they don't have to be big things. Finding joy in the simple things. I think advice that we often give to the students to manage their own well-being, we're not very good at taking ourselves, and we could do with listening to our own advice that we give to the students and applying that to ourselves to make sure that we're not pouring from an empty cup for them.
Absolutely. Because it doesn't help anyone if you are exhausted, worn out, stressed, on the brink of breakdown.
No, it really, really doesn't. It doesn't. And on that note, I think that's a lovely place to finish. It's been so lovely having you back.
Oh, it's been really lovely being back.
We really missed you. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Happy New Year to everyone. We hope your January flies by absolutely at the pace flight, and isn't 11 billion days long as it often feels.
Yes.
And we'll see you very, very soon. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Outstanding and world-class vision and world-class this.
I'm a real leadership